Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Picks and Sticks podcast, a fun music podcast where four great friends talk about the music, bands, and songs that they love. I'm Moro.
I'm Gordo.
I'm Cecil.
And I'm Huff.
And this is Picks and Sticks.
On today's episode of the podcast, we bring you 10 great songs from the Beatles. All right, everyone. What a start. Moro's going just live off the floor with the intro. Unbelievable. We're, I don't know, jam-packed episode tonight, gentlemen, and this is the first time that we're doing an episode in person on a Friday.
Unchaperoned.
Unchaperoned. We're here. We're live at the Palatial Studio, the Picks and Sticks studio. How's the energy, boys?
It's good, man.
It's coming back.
Oh, I'm fired up. More just made me a coffee, put some Baileys in it.
Some
It's
coffee.
going real good. I was napping.
Going.
Cecil's just chugging coffee.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
You look
One
like
and a half.
You look like a cop from a
And a whiskey.
1970s
He's double
comedy.
fisted.
He's double
Coffee and a whiskey.
This is amazing. This is amazing. I've got this huge knob in front of my face, so that's good.
Oh, I'll move that.
It's this microphone, this fucking filter. It's.
I like it, man.
Yeah, it's blocking my vision though. It's massive. Anyway, so I'm dealing with that. So for those, whoever cares, and you know what, I hate to start kind of on a sad note or on a bad note, but I thought I thought I'd bring this up anyway because it's sort of near and dear to some of our hearts, but. And some of us, we've kind of joked about the Picks and Sticks curse. If you remember, we did the Van Halen episode, and shortly after we recorded it, Eddie Van Halen passed away. Then we were in the middle of doing our research, going through the catalog of ZZ Top, and then Dusty Hill died. And then just was a couple episodes ago, we did our sort of underrated bands, and the one that Gordo picked was Screaming Trees. And unfortunately, we lost another great frontman, Mark Lanigan. I pass it over to you, Gordo. I know this is absolutely devastating for you.
I didn't know we were going to talk about this. It might be too fresh. I don't know, man.
Do you need a moment?
It's so tragic that all of my favorite singers, except for Eddie Vedder, are dead now. Like whether it's Cobain.
Yep.
We've got Lane Staley right at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Gord Downey.
Cornell?
Chris Cornell. I'd throw Scott Weiland on the list.
Okay. I was going to ask
Whelan,
you.
yeah.
I was going to ask you about that one.
That's a tragic list,
Shannon
man.
Hoon, you weren't a Blind Melon guy.
I wasn't, but you could throw Shannon on there.
Yeah.
That's a tragic list. Anyways, Mark Lanigan was awesome, and I think he was doing stuff recently.
Yeah, he was.
And I'm not sure how he passed away. They haven't announced yet, have they?
No, he was young, though.
He was in his late
56.
late 50s. Mid-50s.
57, I think.
Too young.
And what's with the 90s guys? Just fucking...
Dude, did we just sit around the 90s crying, waiting to die? Like, what had happened? Cheer up, boys.
Is it Seattle? Is it all the rain?
Fuck, I don't know.
I think everyone was so excited
Sounds
that
like
rock was back that
sounds
everyone
like it's,
partied too much, and now they're all dead.
Sounds like it's not a Picks and Sticks curse, but it's a Gord Alexander curse.
Oh, let's not start that.
Ooh.
You know what?
Ooh.
Sorry, bud, but I feel better, less guilty now.
That's tremendous analysis by Cecil.
I don't know. We're gonna have to investigate.
Way
further.
to go, Gord.
We should kick Gord out of the band and steal his ideas.
Never playing a song that you like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that does suck.
There's some really like I loved his voice, and there's some really great live stuff on YouTube if you want to check any of that stuff out. So anyway, our condolences, of course, to friends, family. We've lost another great one, but
Watched Queens of the Stone Age with Dave
Yes.
Grohl on drums, and
I watched that too. That was
Really good.
incredible.
so good.
Yeah, that was.
I didn't know. I never knew he was a singer for them at all.
I didn't know that either.
And
Yeah,
it's
he
so
kinda
cool
dabbled.
up there. No, not motion. Just up there in his civvies. Just it sounded. I like him with Queens of Stone Age.
And that's my favorite Queen song.
Yeah.
Oh,
That intro is
yeah.
just mind-boggling.
Madness, yeah.
It's off of Songs from the Deaf. It's not the title track. Anyway,
He's on about 3 or 4 songs.
is he?
On that.
Anyway, I'm not sure what the name of that particular song is. But anyway, so tragic news. Secondly, a quick update on the because it's near and dear to my heart, and I get to do whatever the fuck I want. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's quite the race, and I'll tell you, boys, Duran Duran has taken over top spot. So
What?
If you
Are you kidding?
yeah, they're running away with it. Last time we chatted, Pat Benatar was in first. Now it goes Duran Duran, then Eminem, then Pat Benatar, then Dolly Parton, then Eurythmics. The good news is Judas Priest is overtaken. He's too strong for Lionel Richie, so Judas Priest is now in 6th.
You know
I've been voting for Judas Priest.
Have you?
Yeah.
You know what's happening here?
What's that?
All of our wives and all their friends are voting for Duran Duran. They shouldn't be allowed to vote.
That's
Our wives don't have good taste in music, do they?
Love Duran Duran. They just have the wrong
I
instruments.
don't have a wife,
Good
so-
songs, wrong instruments.
okay.
Yeah, I just think they're too like new wavy synthesizer, but
Yeah.
put some rock and roll in that. Goldfinger opened my eyes that if Goldfinger played all Duran Duran tunes,
It'd be unbelievable.
it'd be amazing.
Check out our Cover Tunes episode for
Duran
some
Finger.
more context around that.
You might have a point. That might be 2 points you have already. Fuck,
Oh,
that's
it's
not bad.
caffeine. Whacked.
What a combination, hey?
Right.
Coffee in one cup, whiskey in the other, and Cecil's just,
Who's got the headband?
hey?
What is that?
It's a toque.
It's a.
Was it a 2?
Did your grandma
yeah,
knit
you
that
don't-
or what?
I thought it was a costume.
You don't.
When-
You don't want to hear the story.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
It's a
all right.
sad story.
Okay.
All right.
We'll save it for the sad story podcast.
Yep. Okay. So
It'd be
so
a downer, yeah.
so anyway, there's 17 artists up for the Rock and Roll Hall or for the Rock Hall induction. Top 5 votes, or the top 5 vote getters. Maybe you should be talking more. Cecil's on fire. I'm an absolute piece of shit right now.
Maybe you need a coffee.
Maybe I need a coffee.
Have a sip.
Hey,
Yeah, you got to try out that.
Dude, you're golden.
The coffee's good.
You got to
Oh,
try out
my.
that 70s undercover cop vibe. he's
I
got
do.
going.
I do need to. In a vest maybe.
Your bad is it's still good.
Yeah, top 5 vote getters are going to get in. You can vote once a day until April the 29th. So you can vote. Try and get Priest in there. They're in the 6 hole. They're just right behind Eurythmics, but they're about, last time I checked, about 25,000 votes behind. So make sure you get that vote in. Third,
Behind the rhythmics.
I know. I don't get Eurythmics. I don't know.
She has a voice of an angel.
Yeah, I like Annie a bit.
I don't disagree, but
Not Judas Priest.
I don't know. I mean, I get that Eurythmics doesn't necessarily fall into our sort of genre, stuff that we tend to like, but I'd love to hear from someone who really loves Eurythmics, and maybe we should do a Eurythmics episode.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't even know how many albums they have.
Or instead, we'll just do a Judas Priest episode.
Or we could do both in one episode.
Oh, yeah.
Have a JP versus.
We should do that. We should do 2 oddly
Eurythmics.
matched bands in an episode.
That's a fucking great idea.
It's not
Is
bad.
it?
Yeah, why
I don't
not?
know. I think we might need to roundtable that.
You might be right.
I'm not sure. That seems to be more of the whiskey and less of the coffee talking. And I thought it'd be a great time for the first time in 2022. I hope listeners, you're sitting down.
Oh, wow. What's happening?
It's time for Gord's Pouch.
Thanks. It is indeed. Well, we did have someone get a hold of us through Instagram here. Our good buddy Greener.
Greener.
Yeah,
Hey, you know what you can always count on? There's 3 things: death, taxes, and good shit from Greener.
absolutely.
Right?
I don't disagree. So Greener says, "Hey guys, Happy New Year and Happy Anti-Valentine's." He's a good listener. Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Great.
Been a long time since I ponied up any unsolicited ramblings and jargon. Thought I'd say I enjoyed the most recent episode, although you lost me with all the T Swift nonsense.
Wasn't picking up what we were putting down. I had a little
Didn't
back,
like the T-Swift?
I had a little bit of back and forth with him through the Instagram DMs and stuff. So this obviously goes back a little bit. We just didn't have a chance to get to the Gord's pouch, but in any event, he was not dialing in the T-Swift.
Well, he does go on to say...
We're doing an epi.
Oh, absolutely. He says, I look forward to listening to Angie twice as I compare the two playlists. Nice one, Greener. And if I can submit maybe my favorite breakup jingle,
This is unbelievable.
he goes with Ween's Piss Up a Rope. Cheers. Looking forward to what's next.
It's no up the dumper, but it's
See, when you're dealing with somebody that mentions Ween is a very specific individual.
I not know Ween.
You either know Ween or you don't.
I didn't know it. I listened to it after I got that message. I listened to it, and that's when I ended up getting back to him on it.
Is it bad?
I worked with a guy a couple of years ago who claims this is the greatest band that's ever walked the earth. Is
Yeah.
Ween.
Well, you know what? That's what Ween people say. That's what Fish people say.
That's what Ween
right?
people say.
Do
It's
they have a
exact-
cult following or
Yeah,
whichever?
it's
Yeah.
a big cult
I
following.
think
Got
it is
some Ween heads?
Yeah.
Weenies, they call them?
Wieners.
Wieners.
Yeah.
Weenies.
Yeah, I don't know. It the name. You know what? It's actually not a
Wean
bad
yourself
song.
off the weenie.
Yeah.
It's
Good name.
it's a little bit different. It's country kind of.
Ooh.
They're hard to define, Ween.
Yeah,
That song's, kind of...
they're very college radio. But the name of the track is unbelievable.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So anyway,
I didn't get a chance to dive into the lyrics, but I'm sure it was very, very tragic.
yeah.
Or you don't have him. You don't have a.
I don't. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
You know what?
You know-
Maybe we'll cue up the research department. Maybe we'll get back.
We
to
should
you.
actually played it because if there's one thing we know for sure is that Ween's not going to sue us for playing their shit on a podcast. We probably could have got away with that, but in any event. So, Greener again, to the rest of the listeners, if you want your shit to get into Gord's pouch, if you need to tickle that pouch, you should email us. We're at picksandstickspodcast@gmail.com. You can go the Greener route. He got us through Instagram, which is Picks and Sticks Podcast. We're also on Twitter, Picks and Sticks 2. Oh, Gordo's got something from the research department.
You know what? Our crack research team has come up strong once again.
Yeah.
I do think I should read the
Okay.
the intro to this.
Yeah, we got
You
time.
got to read the names of their. Are you still on Ween?
Yes.
You got to. You're reading the band members' names.
No,
Amazing.
What do
You
we
gotta
got?
get
Where
to-
are
you
they?
gotta-
Someone else read them for me.
You got to get to that.
Ween?
All right, I'll read you the first
you go
line
ahead.
of this song while you're looking up their names. My dinner's on fire while she watches TV. And if you ever wondered what it's like to be me, she takes all my money and leaves me no smokes. Yells at my buddies and insults my folks. It sounds like a Christmas carol. Why am I doing it like a Christmas carol?
Hey, it's working for you.
Twas the night before.
I'm breaking my back doing the best that I can. She's got time for the dog and none for her man. And I'm no dope, but I can't cope. So hit the fucking road and piss up a rope. Unbelievably strong.
Strong, very strong. Yeah.
There they are. Oh, it's just two of them. I thought they were like the Ramones. Gene Ween and Dean Ween.
Gene and Dean
Shane
Ween.
and Dean Ween.
Gene and Dean Ween. You know
Look
what?
at those jokers. Unbelievable.
Wow.
All right.
All right. So
Who knew?
yeah, they have a huge cult following. So thanks, Greener, for submitting that. That's
Gonna
a
have
solid
to give that a
choice.
shot.
Great choice. Great choice. So let's talk Beatles. And man, I don't even know if we can get this all into one episode. We'll see how things go.
It's going to be
Whatever.
a monster, brother.
It's going to be what it's going to be. But I don't even know how you tackle a band like this. I would say that this is I would call it the oldest, but the furthest back maybe that we've gone back. This is a band that was formed in 1960. I love they initially had Stuart Sutcliffe on bass. They had a whole bunch of different drummers, including I would say probably the most well-known former member, which is Pete Best, and then Ringo joined in 1962. Anyone know what their first hit was?
Love Me Do?
Yeah, it was.
Nice.
And then these fucking clowns recorded 213 songs in an 8-year period.
So how many? Sorry?
213.
So in 4 years, they had 1,400 live shows, too. 4 years.
That's rather prolific.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that drives me insane. And I know I'll get to Gord here in a second because this was in one of your backpack items, if you will. You know, when you look on Wikipedia and you try and figure out like how many albums did they actually have, it looks like 22 albums, and you look at like 1964, there's like 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 albums that are listed, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? So it's weird because
I think there was really only 13.
Yeah, because it was.
That sounds about right.
Not every album was released worldwide, right? So like, okay, so like in the United States, most of the songs on Please Please Me were first issued on introducing the Beatles. And but Please Please Me was not hang on, I'm trying to read this off on the fly here. So in Canada, the majority of the album songs were on a different release. It was called Twist and Shout.
Yeah.
So it's like they had all these. Well, they had different albums with different names, and they had different songs on them depending on what part of the world you were in. And then the Beatles' second album is listed as like their 6th album. Like it's all fucked up. Like
Jake,
it was so. It was so hard to.
Well, look at
introducing the Beatles, number 3.
Listen to this. Yeah, the Beatles' second album.
Meet the Beatles.
It's like their 7th freaking record. What is happening? And you know the other thing that was really weird about this time, and it's not just a Beatles thing. This other bands did this too. They would take like what they think would be their best song on the album, and then they'd take it off the album and release it as a single. With a B-side. Yeah. Right. So a lot of the material, and we'll get to that. Some of their best songs aren't even on an album. They're a single with a B-side.
That's right. And sometimes the B-side was as good as the actual single, if you will. The
Beatles. Of course it is.
But they also like literally were together for 7 years.
Yeah.
With 13 albums. So they were just releasing single, like they went hard for 7 years, and then they were like, oh, we're done.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could write that much material.
Like 3 albums in a year?
That was how music was. Wasn't it just they released singles? Like albums weren't a thing. Weren't they credited for turning singles into more albums? Something like that?
If we could back up for two seconds, I'd like to just talk about how we decided to do the Beatles in the first place.
Sure. Yeah,
I know that Cecil and I found the Beatles documentary on Disney, the recent one, Get Back. So Get Back? Right. The original was Let It Be. And I was like, has anyone else watched that? And Carlin said to me, this is the greatest TV show I've ever seen. I was like, wow. Like that's high praise.
That's high praise.
So I finished it up, and I got to say that it was it changed my life. Like it was amazing to see not only the old footage that's been brought back to life in high def quality and the sounds cleaned up, but just to watch one of the most iconic bands try and write an album under incredible time pressure.
Yeah.
They were a lot more
it's amazing.
Relatable. They seem like they didn't seem a whole lot different than us, other than that they could execute a bit better.
Like I thought
Except they were rich.
I thought John Lennon
successful.
was uptight. Like I thought he was an uptight guy, always like protesting and mad. And
he was very political.
And then you realize like he's the funniest guy in the band, by a pretty wide margin. Like he's hilarious. Yeah, you get to see a whole different light.
I agree with that, but all we saw was studio time. We didn't see anything else.
True.
Well, just practice time.
We saw 10 to 6 every day. Work time.
He clearly had no backbone, because if there's one rule when you're writing tunes or being in the jam sessions, you don't bring your girl around.
And you don't let her
no different
if
if you had like a female guitarist or something. Don't bring your boyfriend. Like, what is going on? Sitting there, and
or your buddy, or your kids.
She sat there and she's reading magazines. She's fucking knitting and stuff. Like, I was just like, would you just get out of the way?
It's one thing to be there and sit on the side of the wall, but she sits right in the middle.
Yeah. She's right in the middle, right beside John as he's trying to play, and she's staring at him. And I was just like, Jesus Christ.
I tried to like her. I went in thinking, you know what? I'm just gonna, try to like her, but everything I saw, she annoyed the fucking shit out of me.
Yeah,
completely.
I actually said to my wife, because we watched it together, I'm like, Yoko's not so bad. She just sits there quietly and she's not saying anything. 5 minutes later, they do that Yoko's Freak Out.
Yep.
And she's making the screaming sounds. And
Yeah.
I almost put my foot through the TV.
Yeah.
But she also sits like 3 inches away from John the whole time when she's there.
Yeah.
It's like, would you just give him some fucking space?
No.
Give him some space?
Give him some fucking space!
Fuck's sakes! Fucking space! Jesus.
If she's here, she could at least be maybe back here somewhere. No, she's here too. Hey, John. Yeah, that was annoying. If you haven't seen the doc, I think it's worthwhile. I think it's incredible. It can be tough to get into. Like I found some of the first parts.
10 hours or 9 hours long?
It's 10 hours of footage, and I guess at the beginning it said something like there was 160 hours of footage that they had.
They had 160 audio
what it was?
and 50 hours of 50 or thereabouts
Of video. It's an alarming amount, but it was such a cool insight to, one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time.
It's nice to see a band that's that successful, like just be complete and utter donkeys too. So stay with me here for a minute.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is they show up and they're going to do some sort of a TV special with what they're filming. And then they're going to do some sort of concert.
Yep.
But they haven't decided where it's going to be.
Oh.
There's talk about an outdoor Roman stadium in Libya. Maybe we'll do it somewhere in London outside, but it's freaking winter. They actually have no clue, and they're going to do it in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And they have written no songs.
Yeah, no songs.
Like they have no
Nothing.
plan whatsoever. I know their manager, who helped them through the majority of their career, he'd passed on by now. He probably would have helped make some decisions, but it's funny to see them go, well, why don't we play out here? And the one guy's like, I'm not doing that. Oh, they have no roadmap whatsoever.
I think what you have to keep in mind with all that is they were already the biggest rock band on the planet at that point.
Yeah, true.
So they could do whatever the fuck they wanted. They could delay shit a week. They could show up. They didn't care
they had
at that point. There was no pressure in terms of how they had to deliver something, but they just wanted to. Like they had this vision in their head, and they're like, "This is what we're gonna fucking do." Nobody forced them to do any of it.
But that's the thing. They didn't have a vision. They didn't have the complete vision. Like they hadn't even talked about what they were going to do for a concert.
It was a little ambitious to write an album in 3 weeks and plan a full stage, like a full-fledged concert.
But they basically did it in a month.
Yeah. And then they wrote Abbey Road like 2 months later.
No, this is funny because most of the songs that they're practicing in the documentary are Abbey Road songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're coming up with Abbey Road songs, and then I didn't realize it, but they went into the studio to record Abbey Road 3 weeks after that rooftop concert.
Was it 3 weeks?
Yeah, that's when they went into the studio to record Abbey Road, and
they had some of that shit. Like
And then
they
Maxwell's
had all
Silver
that
Hammer, and
shit
there
put
was
together.
a few, yeah.
So they had 2 albums worth of stuff from that 3 week session, and then they of course, typical Beatles fashion, release Abbey Road first, even though that's their last recorded album.
True. Yeah. That's where I got confused because I hadn't really got into all the records, right? And then I'm watching them write some of these songs, and then I'm listening to the Let It Be album, and I'm like, where the fuck is Maxwell's Silver Hammer? That's a great tune. Where's it? And
It's
then
like the Anvil.
yeah,
Just
yeah, I
like
love
the
the
Anvil.
anvil, and the guy comes in with the fucking ball peen.
That's the other thing about the Beatles. You know, we could
need
really
to-
use an anvil, and then fucking 5 minutes later,
The guy shows up.
with an anvil.
Where the fuck you find an anvil?
you know what?
Not a problem. I got you, man.
You know what else is funny about them? I think they're like the first boy band ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at their early shit,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like a boy band.
Absolutely,
They're young
Elvis
dudes
is
playing like stuff for teenage girls, and people are going bananas.
And then they possibly turned into the first grunge band.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, they were like, "Fuck, enough of this shit. We got to actually do something musical here."
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? They wrote stuff so complicated later in their career that they couldn't perform it live. They just fuck it. We just won't do live
It was
shows.
pretty.
We're good.
It was pretty clear when they started doing drugs.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, right.
And it's what they're. I think they're better on drugs, both them and me.
I
love the early shit though. I love the early
You
shit.
did
the
like
Chuck
the-
Berry stuff. I love all
You
that
really
shit.
did. Out of the
love
four
it.
of us, I feel like Morrow enjoyed
Fantastic.
the early shit
They-
more. then
They really
Then
do a good job at it, though, right? You gotta keep reminding yourself that like it sounds dated and some of it's kind of corny, but I'm like, they're literally like creating rock and roll from these other guys, right? There's Elvis and there's Chuck Berry, what have you. But as you said, they're the first rock and roll boy band.
That's what they were. Like,
but can you
it's
pick
incredible.
a different topic? Does every song have to be a love song? Like those first 5 or 6 albums,
Dude,
98% of the songs are love songs. Like it drove me insane. Everything is love, the whole fucking thing.
But
and then,
they're at
But
their
later,
sexual
it's
peak.
still all love songs. Too.
yeah, but it
They're
sounds
just more.
better.
They're more.
Dude, they're
They're
young.
more subliminal in the
Dude, they're
approach.
18.
They're 18-year-old from Northern England. Like they want some, and they
That's true.
probably got so much. Like it would have been
That's
crazy.
true. That's true.
Just keep writing love songs, John.
You got lots of love, you mean?
Yeah,
Sorry, love, of course, mutual love.
yeah, exactly.
Unreal.
There you go.
Special shout out to when they do go to the studio later on in the documentary when they just, this warehouse is ridiculous. Let's go to the studio. That green carpet, fucking exquisite.
It is.
Do you remember that
exquisite.
green carpet? That is amazing.
It looked like AstroTurf. Isn't that what it was? Or was it actually carpet?
Dude, that was carpet.
Wow.
It's the other thing. I figure, like, if I picture the Beatles studio, I'd picture it a little more organized, things placed. And you look at their guitars are face down on the rug next to the
Patch
food
cords
next
everywhere.
to the tea and biscuit crumbs.
And they're
Yeah.
wealthy men, as you said. by
It was
now.
absolutely perfect, though.
It was.
Yeah.
They just sat down and played.
Like, they're
Those
so rich.
microphones they were using. Oh my god! Rock.
Ripped
Garage
down the
Fuck,
sale.
it looked like they just ripped some foam off a thing and taped it to the end of the microphone.
I think they did.
They took the packing foam from the piano they wheeled in.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I love from the anvil. From the anvil they ordered.
I love the discussion around the electronic piano. Is that what they call
Yeah,
it?
the
Like,
electronic
It was a
piano.
brand new thing. It was fucking this piece of shit. Like, hey, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool too because they were learning instruments and different techniques all through the show. Like when George got on that slide, that pedal steel, fuck, he was terrible.
That's one thing. You think
And then if you listen to the songs when they record him, he's absolutely spot on.
He's a magician on that fucking
I didn't
thing.
realize, or maybe I did, but I didn't think about how all of them can play so many different instruments. Like even Ringo hops on the piano, and he's pretty decent.
That's what one of my takeaways was. I found that interesting. Where George comes in and he had that. I wrote this song last. I couldn't figure it out on
That was
guitar,
genius.
so I wrote it on piano. And he comes down, just rips into a tune on piano, and I'm like, Jesus Christ,
Old brown shoe.
right?
Yeah.
And the whole time they're so wealthy, John Lennon looks like a fucking hobo. Like, could you spend $5 on some pants?
Might be the heroin.
Could have been the heroin. He was on heroin during that time.
He looked a little haggard at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
He was fucking confused the whole 9 hours.
Coming in a little late.
coming in a little
Lennon
late.
was? You found him confused?
He seemed confused.
He
seemed
a
like
little
in some other
disinterested.
world.
He seemed disinterested at times, didn't he? Like
Yeah,
Paul was really
coming
running
down.
that show.
Yeah, or it was just. I mean, again, his girl was there. He's distracted.
And Paul, I didn't realize he was such a taskmaster. Like you need someone to get those guys focused, and when you've only got 3 weeks, you got to get at her. But like, if I was in a band with a guy like that, I'd be like, dude, you better just like simmer down. I'm not doing this 19 times. Fucking figure it out.
Every time they start, wait, it's not fast enough. Hold on, it's dragging a bit.
Try it like this. Like, and he start. You're like, what?
Yeah,
Why don't I play drums? You do the fancy stuff.
Yeah,
You
no.
learn it.
Why don't I play everything?
Allow me to ask the question: who was the real leader of the Beatles?
Paul.
Well, Lennon says so. He says, I haven't been the leader of this band for 3 years. It's you. They have that really cool conversation that
Yeah.
they just
No,
have the
yeah,
audio.
Where they put the microphone in the
flower
pot.
pot.
It's amazing. What? That's clever.
yeah.
It was confusing.
And George, I felt bad for George because I think he was as talented, if not more, than all of them.
They should have let him take
And they
over.
just fucking,
They should have.
they didn't treat him that well.
They didn't.
No.
He's always the younger guy, right? Like he was 14 when they were 16 and 15. And they just treated him like that forever. But they even have that conversation like, geez, George is like, he's coming. They usually gave him like one song, an album. But he had like half an album worth of material.
I can't remember the name of his first solo album, but I listened to it after, and there's some tunes. I was like, oh, I wish the Beatles played these.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Isn't It a Pity? That was a pretty dope outro to the first episode on the documentary after he left.
That's good.
Oh, and then they fall. Anyways, I digress. They fall. There's a good jam session at the end of episode 1. Listen to it.
And Ringo, you know what? I've spent years of my life trashing Ringo Starr as a fucking garbage drummer, and you know what? I need to take all that back.
All right.
He's a fucking great drummer.
You can take it back.
I completely
He's
agree.
a great drummer. Like I'm like,
Completely.
oh man, I feel bad that I was
He's
such a fucking dummy.
I'm going to use a word. He's tasteful.
Tasteful drumming for sure. I would agree with that, Gord. Definitely tasteful drumming. And sneaky complicated. Mm-hmm. Like it sounds like, oh fuck, he's playing some 4/4 beat, or he's just playing something, and then when you really listen to it, you're like, what the fuck is he doing?
I put on our playlist and I drummed along with it just to see how hard this was. And the old stuff's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But later on, it gets really tricky. Like even playing a song like I Dig a Pony, it's really hard to play that slow.
Yeah, it's all
really
feel.
hard.
You needed that
feel.
1970s Liverpool weed.
Yeah, no Metrodome. Metrodome?
Metrodome.
Yeah, I love the Metrodome.
Tina Turner.
Mad Max.
Yeah, Mad Max. The Metrodome.
But yeah, he really impressed me, and Harrison really impressed me. I didn't realize they were both much better than I had given them credit
Me too. I'm a big George guy now. When I saw that, I was like, man, I really, really like George. I love the way he plays guitar. Some of the shit that he puts in there, like
That
Everything-
Rosewood Telecaster he has
Yeah,
is
nice.
like fucking unbelievable.
you should pick one up, Morrow.
Why don't you have one on the
Yeah.
on the wall?
Yeah, pick one up.
I was
Pick it up.
I was looking into it. They made 1,000 copies of that guitar. There is originals of that guitar, but then they made the George Harrison special. They only made 1,000 copies, I think, in 2008 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a big lobby for them to make another run of those guitars.
And he didn't really have the ego that maybe the other two had, because he had absolutely no problem doing with what a lot of other bands did in the day, where they'd have uncredited musicians play on their album.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize Clapton had played on a few. I had no idea Clapton plays on When My Guitar Gently Weeps. I didn't know that was Clapton, and he was like, you could see him think about it, and he's like, yeah, let's just get my friend Eric to come play the lead on this.
Yeah, he was
he didn't
George's
care.
buddy.
Yeah, they collaborated on a few things. I didn't realize George wrote some other stuff, and I meant to bring it with me. But anyway, if you do your own research or Googling or whatever,
Taxman. That's a great one. You're right.
Taxman's great. But I mean,
Across the Universe, I think. Oh,
no,
that's Lennon. Sorry.
but stuff that he wrote for like other artists and people that you wouldn't even
No way.
necessarily.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, he does. He's got some cool shit. The other thing
Like Billie Eilish or something?
He was a
Yeah.
traveling Wilbury too.
he was, and I loved the Wilburys.
It was a TW.
I love the Wilburys.
I did too, because I like Jeff Lynne. I like Tom Petty, obviously.
Roy Orbison.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good little
George
band.
Harrison.
The other thing that I thought was awesome about for any of the musicians out there, and if you've ever been in a room trying to write music, it's nice to know that the exact same things that you faced, the exact same experiences you had, whether you ever recorded anything or not, are exactly the same as the greatest rock and roll band ever. They're sitting there, and it's two guys staring at each other, and they're trying to noodle out this thing on guitar. And one guy's fucking standing there. The drummer is half asleep, because if he plays anything, the guitars get mad. We're trying to fucking work this out. Meanwhile, he's thinking about some other song, and he's like, man, I got to figure out that fill. So he'd like to practice the fill, but he's not allowed to. So he's just leaning on the kit, staring at the other two dummies. And one guy will get up and go for a smoke or a coffee, and he comes back. There might be a little argument. They'll play it for about a minute, and then they'll stop, and then they'll argue. It's like, it's the same fucking thing. The four of us have all done it. Exactly the same.
Bassist Paul's trying to tune and the guitars start playing too loud, so he can't tune.
He can't tune. He's pissed off. Would you guys?
Oh wait, no, that was another band.
Would you guys shut? He breaks an E string or something like
A string.
the A string.
That's funny. They just get going too, and George Martin comes out. Paul, your bass out of tune.
The hardest part for the whole thing was watching it was the smoking.
Yeah,
I had to fucking run out for a dart every 15 minutes.
I quit smoking
like
22 years ago. And I wanted to smoke.
Same. I want to smoke watching it. Yeah.
Totally.
It's like watching Mad Men. Everyone's got a dart going.
That was the default move. If you have nothing to do, smoke.
Yeah, rip a dart.
Or hey, sandwiches are here.
Well, the
They had finger sandwiches. Like, what the fuck?
well, the best is
time?
they had everyone packed in the control room.
Yeah.
The kids, like the little
5
kids,
cigarettes.
and they're all fucking smoking up a store. Like
Billy Preston.
hot box in the control room.
Yeah.
He played piano or smoked. That's
Yeah.
it.
Almost everybody that was in that control room is now dead.
It was fascinating to watch their process too, like just how genius they are. Because as I was saying, Lennon looks disinterested some mornings, a little hungover or whatever.
Yeah.
And Paul starts doing something. He has no words, but he has a melody, so he's like scattered. And then Lennon's harmonizing the nonsense, like they're working through it without lyric. Like it was incredible to watch that dynamic.
It's ridiculous.
How good they were together.
There's not many bands out there that harmonize like that.
No.
In terms of multiple singers, you just don't find it.
That's a strange thing too. 2 singers for like you split it almost 50-50. A little more Paul maybe, but what do you think?
Yeah,
I don't know.
close.
I think it
close.
was pretty close.
Yeah, I would say.
That's odd. That's not usual.
Pink Floyd was the same.
Yeah, that's true.
It was close to 50-50, not quite.
Yeah.
It was interesting to hear them talk about other acts at the time too. Like they really liked. Oh, did you see that Fleetwood Mac? Oh yeah, that's great. I saw him on TV. Like they're all over the Fleetwood Mac, and they're talking. About some
different
other guy.
different
it was
bands.
Cool.
Yeah, that's right. They're a big fan of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about? And I don't know if you guys or how much of it you may have seen. The Rick Rubin, Paul McCartney. This is also on.
I didn't see that.
For the listeners, it's also on Disney Plus. It's called McCartney 321, and it's basically, how would you describe it? It's Rick Rubin has the original sort of master tapes on reel, and they're talking about specific songs or different moments, and at times they'll single out, like, because he's got control, like he might just
listen to the bass.
Listen to the bass, and all
Like
you hear
Helter
is the
Skelter.
bass line.
I love that. Cause that's why I love that song so much, because of that. So when they isolated it, I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's exactly the reason I like that song, just for that bass."
And then he'll get Paul to walk through what he can remember about either the process or what they were thinking and how they arrived at like how they developed the song as it turned out.
Yeah,
and I really liked Paul's line too, because he's kind of humble in his old age, really, for being in one of the biggest bands ever. But they finished listening to a song, and Rubin's like looking at him, like waiting for something amazing to be said, and McCartney's like, "Yeah, pretty good." yeah, no shit, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's definitely worth checking out, especially from, like, McCartney talks a lot about music composition and just how
I love that. Yeah,
like episode 2 was a lot about of that, and where they're drawing different influences from, and which was funny because one of the people that he mentions, I think it was in episode 2, it might have been 3, was Fela Kuti, who is someone that no one really knew who they were, but he's up for the Rock Hall as well. He's in dead last, mind you, because nobody knows who he is, but he's I think he's Nigerian, and sort of created he created it like a sort of a new sound. Like he's very well respected, I guess, and for people who are smarter than us that actually know a lot about music. But anyway, it was just his whole view on different ways to compose songs and just how they came about, like how the ideas came about and how they made it work is like fucking phenomenal.
You can pinpoint the exact moment that they did that famous trip to India, because the next thing you know, Harrison's got the fucking sitar like in every second song, and he's crushing it.
Yeah,
he's just like he's been playing it for 20 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they were beauties, man. They just did whatever the fuck they wanted.
Yeah, I highly recommend that you check that out, Morrow, for sure. Listeners, if you haven't checked it out, even if you're not a Beatles fan, the documentary, and especially the third episode is
It's the third one.
It's the third one. The third episode is awesome, and of course it finishes with the famous rooftop concert.
Beatles get to me. They're one of my most misty bands, and when they were showing like this is the actual version on
Yes.
Let It Be, like they're playing Get Back, and they show that, I start getting almost choked up. I'm like, we're fucking seeing this, like we're behind the scenes watching this be recorded.
I really like that they added that. This was the take on,
and
on
some
the
of them on the album are part of the rooftop concert. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know it was all live either.
And how do you?
I thought most of the album was recorded live from the roof.
See, I didn't know any of it was, and I thought it would have been done from the studio, and so it would have sounded the same. But it was you have the ability to watch music history.
Yeah,
like that was the coolest piece. That to your point, Cease, right? Like this is holy fuck. Like they wrote these songs. We watched them write the songs.
And 9 hours earlier, they're like, yeah, like they don't even have it worked out yet.
Parts of it were frustrating. Sorry, Gordon.
No, go ahead.
Parts of it was frustrating because you know what the lyric is when they're trying to work out the lyric.
And they don't.
It's JoJo. It's fucking JoJo, Paul.
Yeah, the first line of Get Back was hilarious, wasn't it? They worked that went on forever.
The whole time you're just like, Jesus Christ, it's fucking JoJo.
they came back to that a lot.
They did.
It's like every
It
episode.
took them a long time to work out those lyrics.
What was the city? He's like, what is that? Is that in Arizona?
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah, it is. Oh, okay, good.
That's the most bizarre lyric. The Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah.
makes no sense.
It does. Can I just throw out a little love to Billy Preston?
Yeah.
That's the,
Yes, please
the,
do.
the keyboardist that. Okay, so he just shows up in the studio to say hi because he played with them in Germany. I think he was in Little Richard's band, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was a touring guy.
He was a child prodigy.
Guy's a keyboard assassin.
So,
He's unbelievable.
So how good is his day? He shows up to say hi to his buddy, the Beatles. Like, hey, Billy, would you mind sitting in on this? Okay. And he's smiling ear to ear.
He couldn't keep it in. He's like,
He's having
all
the
day.
best time.
And they're like, he's coming back tomorrow, isn't he? Like, yeah, I hope so. Don't worry, we've set him up. He's fine, dude. No, you're on a Beatles album. Are you kidding me?
And then
you're crushing it.
Lennon is the best.
He's like, I guess we should probably pay him. You think he got paid for that? Oh shit!
Yeah.
What he added to their songs was great. Like, and you could see how much they lit up. They're like, I think you saved this session, Billy.
He's fucking
He
unreal.
might have saved the album, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in trouble up till then, weren't they?
And I think we'll probably come back to that. Because
What was he
there's-
playing? Was that like a Hammond?
Wasn't that the
B3?
the Reggie Hammond?
The Reggie Hammond electronic piano.
Hammond B3.
I don't know.
Those things are fucking amazing.
Those guys were good on keyboards, and then he showed up, and they just looked like me on a
Absolute
I
amateurs.
went one time. When I lived in Vancouver. I went and jammed with this guy. Conlon had a girlfriend. He's like, "Oh, you got to go jam with her dad." And I'm like, "Okay." And I was a metal guy, right?
Yeah.
So grunge and metal, and I show up.
Do you know this Pantera?
He's got
riff?
the Hammond B3, and then a bassist, and then this other guy, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, holy fuck, I don't know how to play anything that these guys know how to play. And they're grooving out on the the blues, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is horrible.
And then what did
So
you
I
do?
turned my I turned my guitar down so
palm
low.
muting.
I turned it so low that they could barely hear it. And after they're like, man, that was really good, because most guitarists that come and play with us, they just turn up so loud and overtake the whole thing. And I'm like, I was just like playing one note things
See?
to try and fucking mix in.
You showed up and you Billy Preston did.
You know what that is, Gord?
What's that?
That's tasteful guitar right there.
Tasteful
That's
guitar
tasteful.
right there.
Tasty.
I think I said Billy Gibbon earlier. Yeah, Billy Preston. Billy Preston.
Yeah, I thought you said Brett. You didn't say Gibbons.
The guy's smiling ear to ear for the entire documentary. And why wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
The only man credited on a
life,
Beatles
set-
song.
Yeah.
Besides the four guys.
Crushing it on the keys. Unbelievable. So, unless there's anything else, I mean, obviously we're big fans of the 2 documentaries and some of that footage. And hey, Morrow, are you passing by the fridge?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you hook me up, man? Yeah. I'm in the middle of transitioning here. We're in a transitional period. So I think we'll talk about the algorithm, the patented Picks and Sticks algorithm, which we haven't had a chance to talk about in a little while. I guess it was Led Zeppelin that we did last.
Yeah. Did you notice the very unique circumstances of the algorithm this time?
I really did. So we'll get to that. So we each, all 4 of us, will complete our own list. We do our own top 20. Then we apply the patented Picks and Sticks algorithm, and it ranks all the songs. We generally talk about the top 10. I might actually mention some of the other ones that didn't make.
I definitely think we have to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Should I do that now, maybe? Or we can do. No, let's do it after.
Let's do it after.
Do it after. So we're going to talk about the top 10. This is the first time ever we had a tie for first.
Unbelievable.
So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. I hate to get going without Morrow, but he's on a coffee run. And in any event, number 10, and you know what else I noticed too? Just because, again, whatever it was, 213 songs that they recorded, 188 are original, but in any event, when we did our 20, there was way more variety in the songs. There weren't certain songs that were dominating, right? Like sometimes our number one song in terms of the points, and I know the listeners, it probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you, but let's just say like your top points might be, 60, 70, 75 points, something like that. We're kind of in the 50s, but once you get in, the number 10 song, it's like 25 points.
Yeah.
So the difference between all of these songs, and we had so many songs that were on maybe 2 lists as opposed to we normally 3, 4. Like it was crazy how many good songs they had. My short list was 75 songs.
Short list.
That was my short list.
Jesus.
That's normally I have around, like, if it's a really difficult band, one that I'm really struggling with to whittle it down, I'm usually in the mid 40s, and that's like a boatload, right? Because you got to cut more than half.
Yeah.
And I went through this catalog, and I had fucking 75 or 78 songs. I can't remember what it was, but it was way too many songs.
Yeah. I know for me personally, I had my top 5 for them rotated every day. I couldn't decide which was my favorite. One day it was number 1, then it would slip to number 5, then it's back at 3.
Yeah.
I just had to write them down and go with it.
You had to eventually just say, you know what, I can't, thanks, man. I just can't, I can't do anymore. Yeah. Right? Like, you just have to leave
the shit out of this is what is happening.
Absolutely.
We should also say that we've come across a new technique for doing this too, which I've really enjoyed. And that's, right, we're doing a garage vinyl at my house, just trying to bounce ideas off each other. What do you think of this song? Do you like that solo? Am I off base here? Is this amazing?
It's a sales session. Let's call it what it is.
It's a sales session.
Hey, Morrow,
They're flogging your picks.
you're flogging your wares, and you're like, did you enjoy that though? Morrow, this is
absolutely,
Gordon,
man.
We did it for ZZ Top, and we did it for one other one. I thought Zeppelin, right?
And I'll set the scene if I can.
Please do.
So we're at my house, and we've got some beers, we've got some Beatles vinyl going, but we don't have it all. So we're doing Spotify, and there's a lot of love. There's a lot of love in the Beatles catalog.
A lot of love.
And then Morrow came a little later, and he came in hot. I think we'll just describe it as hot.
Yeah, Morrow
he
came in hot.
elbows high. Oh fuck, this is terrible. This is dog shit. Like crapped all over it. But by the end, I saw a different Jason Morrow.
Absolutely.
He was relaxed.
Yep.
He had love.
Yep.
And appreciation.
Yep. And opened my eyes to a couple of songs I may not have.
Yeah, he did too.
Necessarily.
I was.
gone with.
Yeah, I never was a Beatles fan because they were just before my time.
It is hard. And
so when I went back and listened, everything kind of changed. Actually,
Yeah. This is the first.
This band is amazing. They are amazing.
They were broken up before any of us were born. Like for the first time, which is weird, right? Like at least Hendrix died when we were born. A couple of us, anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hendrix, you got to listen to Dancing Around the World, I think it's called, Little Richard song. Billy Preston on piano. Jimi Hendrix on guitar.
No shit.
It was good. We'll play it after.
Okay. Yeah.
Deadly.
We'll do
Well,
that.
if you haven't
that'll be
heard,
the after
if you
show.
haven't heard 30 Beatles hits
Right.
in your lifetime, then you haven't been listening to music. You know.
One thing
So
I did
there's all the other shit.
Yep.
Yeah, there's like hundreds of other songs that are amazing, and then where do you fit those in with the hits like "Hey Jude" and "Yesterday" and "Strawberry Field"? Like there's so much, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And the styles change, like from the beginning to the middle, where they sort of keep some of that sort of bubblegum-ish, but they get a little psychedelic, and then at the end they just go completely
Off the rails.
drug.
Well, sort of, but then Let It Be, that album is a rock and roll album. It's not. It's like Sgt. Pepper is an LSD record, right? It is.
Yeah. That's one thing I really like
So
about
is
them.
Revolver.
So is Revolver.
Their early albums are singles put together, right? Is how I describe it. I didn't really realize, having not gone through the catalog before, that by the end, like when you listen to Sgt. Pepper's or the White Album, like beginning to end, there's definitely, if there's not like a theme lyrically, there's a musical theme that you pick up on. So some of the even lesser songs, there's a purpose to them, and I really enjoyed that part.
Yeah.
Couldn't have picked, like I heard you saying you had 70 tunes. I ended up with about 71.
Okay.
Really? I was very, very discerning, and I my short list was 30. I was quite happy.
Same.
And you know what? I like all 71 of them.
Yeah.
All of them. But there's probably another 71 that I'm like, yeah, they're okay. But
Yeah.
Do they have a Brandon song for you?
Yes.
What was
not
that?
for me.
Yeah.
For you, those of you who don't know, Brandon by Motley Crue is the egregious example of what you shouldn't do.
This
as a
is
band.
probably one of, again, I mean, I'm going to overstate it just for effect because it makes us all laugh when I go off on a song. But this has got to be one of the worst fucking songs I've ever heard.
Which one is it?
It's off of the White Album. It's called Wild Honey Pie.
Yeah, that is bad.
It's not a long song. I think it might be a minute or something. It is absolute garbage.
It's a minute too long.
It is a minute too long. And when you talk about absolute epic albums, and I think your boy Clute said that the White Album was a perfect
Skin Clute?
album.
I think you used that word perfect.
No, it's
Well, I take fucking very much offense to that.
that's the reason there's two. It's a double album. There's one good, one bad. They're just mixed
Holy
together.
hell, that song for me is up there. It's with Brandon and Mother from the Police. I've got a list on there. Man, you just thank God it's only a minute long. The problem is when you got it on vinyl, you can't fucking skip it, so you have to listen to it. And I'll tell you, that's a minute of your life you just can't get back.
Maybe it'll grow on you.
It ain't growing on me.
It's-
You know what? After we play that Hendrix song in the after show here, we're going to play that, and I defy anybody to say, you know what? I really see what they're going for there.
So it's not a deep cut.
It's it is not a deep cut. It isn't. Oh God, don't even.
All right. Well, let's get into the good shit.
let's talk about the good shit.
Oh, then we start with this.
Let's start at number 10, shall we, boys? Off of Abbey Road, which the last album recorded, but second last album released.
So confusing.
So confusing. Golden Slumbers / Carry That Weight. It's kind of one of
Don't.
those songs that one song bleeds
Move along.
into the next.
He cried.
Cecil
He
cried.
came over early and he
I
cried.
told him.
He's like, "Don't play
I
this
can't
or I'll
listen
cry."
to the song without
He's
crying.
fucking crying in my
I
kitchen.
can't.
Oh, it's
Really?
terrible.
I can't, and I tried not to, and I started to well up.
I had to run away from him
Yeah, it
because
was
he's
awkward.
fucking like standing there all awkwardly.
Yeah, it was really
tears in his
it was
eyes.
uncomfortable. I can't.
Why can't we support him with his emotions?
Well,
It's a very personal song.
and you know what it might have been? It might have been the fact that it is one of the very few Beatles songs where all four sing in unison.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is
that's
that
true.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Huh.
They
very
don't
true.
do that a lot, do they?
No.
Even
Did
Dingo.
you?
I mean Ringo.
Dingo.
Even Dingus.
Oh, see, I can't get it out of my
see,
system.
you're still mad at him. Listen.
Shitting all over Ringo.
Oh, that was the other thing. You know,
Interesting.
you know what was funny in the documentary? So you know when they'll play that they'd show the songs like they're playing the songs, and then they do the song credits, and it's usually Lennon McCartney, Harrison, or whatever, and then there'd be the odd one that says Lennon McCartney, Harrison, Starkey, and that kept coming up. I'm like, who's this fucking Starkey guy? And I didn't realize that Ringo Starr's actual name.
Yeah.
It's like whatever Richard Starkey or whatever his fucking name is, and it took me like I was like 7 hours into it, and I finally Googled it, and I was like, oh, I'm stupid.
So
I feel like we need to add the end to this because
Yeah.
it just ends horribly.
It does. I would agree with
That's a
that.
good call.
Yeah.
I'm the only guy that didn't have this song on my list.
Explain yourself.
I went back and listened. I'm like, did I miss something here? And I re-listened to it. I'm like, no, I don't get this one at all. I love so many other songs, and this is not one of them.
Oh.
Well, so do you know the meaning though?
I don't believe I do.
The end was the last song ever recorded by
Yeah.
them, right?
Yeah.
So which ends off this
The trio.
Yeah,
trio.
It does make sense to have all three.
But the whole Golden Slumbers Carry That Weight was about how they felt they were going to carry the weight of the Beatles forever because they knew they were never going to individually be as successful as the Beatles were. So they had written this song about that. I thought that was pretty fucking cool. And it was the actual truth.
Yeah.
No, they never reached
Incredible insight, hey?
Yeah. But they just, you know, they were just like, yeah, this is the way it is. This is the song we're writing. This is what we're gonna do. And that's he's fucking crying now.
You okay, Cease?
No,
Jesus.
we gotta.
Okay, we got to move on. We got to move on.
Well, yeah, I like the
A
concept.
lot of their songs had those like meanings to them that
Yeah.
you just don't find with other bands, or
Yeah.
at least they don't share them, right?
Yeah, that's true.
All right, how about Let It Be?
Oh.
Are we good with Let It Be? The title track off
That's
of Let
another
It Be?
tough one because that's the song my boys' first song you learned on piano.
I've been getting for Cliff. We have to call a counselor for Cease. Our boys
Dude,
falling
they make me
apart.
misty.
The coffee made them all hyped up. Now
That's
he's coming
right.
down.
Yeah.
He talks about it in the documentary. It's a dream about his mom, right?
I believe so.
He had a
Yeah,
dream
it
about
was
his
mother.
mom that had died,
Yeah.
and he was going through a hard time, and he's like, in his dream, she consoled him and said, "Oh, let it be."
Oh,
And
yeah,
then he
yeah, I do
wrote
remember
the
that
song.
now.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of some of McCartney's singing. I love
What's
it.
wrong with you?
No. Some of it I really like, and other songs I'm not fond of. I find on this song is amazing. I don't know if it's because it's so personal to him or what, but the melody, his voice, it's magical.
Well, Lennon had that nasally sort of voice.
Well, he'd be a drum
McCartney
singer.
had the rounded out
Like a canary.
Harrison did whatever, but McCartney almost had that sort of more.
McCartney was more versatile.
Yeah, it was
Like
his
he had
voice was more rounded. He could do some of the deeper
Yeah.
stuff. Lennon couldn't sing deep.
His screaming like an "Oh darling."
His
and-
screaming's good, yeah.
unreal,
Helter
right?
Skelter.
But he can also sing like Yesterday,
Yeah,
which is just
versatile. Is a good
smooth
word.
Yeah,
as butter.
yeah, he is smooth.
That's a
When you talk about Harrison singing, I automatically think of "Oh me my, oh me my." I don't know why.
great.
I
And that's a
love
great
that
song.
tune.
Or Fab. Long time ago when we.
When We Was Fab, that's a terrible song.
It's
But
horrible.
this that
I watch that video a lot though. On Much Music.
yeah, I remember that from back in the day. Yeah, absolutely. The next song is "I Saw Her Standing There." That's an earlier song, an earlier entry off of "Please Please Me."
Shocking.
Shocking. Moral, you're fucking huge.
Huge
on-
fan of it.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the 17-year-old thing, but you know they went through that whole controversy
Oh,
singing about a 17-year-old.
They were like 19, 20 at the time.
Yeah.
You can tap that. That's
Why
fine.
the fuck not? You know what I find?
Tap that.
You're 20, yeah.
20?
What the hell?
It's a great song.
It's not below the age of consent.
You know what's
anywhere.
funny about that song though? There's no kick drum.
Whoa!
I don't think they let him play the kick drum.
Really?
what?
I didn't notice that.
Play that
You didn't
song.
notice it?
No.
Oh no!
There's no kick drum. It's just bass, and he's like,
All right, add that to the
After show.
the after show
if he
playlist.
could play the kick drum in that song, it'd be about like 100 times better.
That's weird. I didn't notice
we got to
that.
give that a listen. I didn't realize.
Fucking Lars producing it.
No, Lars
No,
would have
Lars would have been like
double bass and 300 fills.
He's like, that's not my bass.
Oh, Lars would have fucked it up.
Well, you remember back in that day, so it came out in what, 62?
2, 3, yeah.
Most of the drumming had no kick drums.
Ooh.
You should put the phone right by the microphone, Morrow.
Most of the drumming at that point had no kick drum. It was the bass was the kick drum, right?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, have you listened to 50s stuff?
Like Elvis
Not
Presley.
a lot.
Stuff
Really?
Like that. Yeah. That's why Ringo. We look at the drummers that came right after Ringo, and it's easy to say Ringo wasn't as good, and he probably technically wasn't. But what he was doing at the beginning of their career, he was really good.
Yeah.
Really good time. Phenomenal.
That's probably because he played stand up. You
they played stand-up
slap the
bass?
bass like you slap the
Yeah, you didn't want the
Just
kick
slap it,
drum to
it's
get
more-
in the way of the.
right. I
love the stand-up bass.
And the bass line in that song is unbelievable. How good it is.
Really?
It's actually most of the song.
It's
Okay.
really good.
The guitar is just an accompaniment.
I should get myself a little more familiar with I Saw Her Standing There because it didn't make my short list, so I never listened to it again. I just found it a little too bubblegummy for
I
me.
can't not
It
do
is.
this when I listen to
I
it.
understand why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Head's got to go like this when you listen to it.
Yeah, like a bobblehead.
Yeah.
Number 7, we're going to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Yes, we
Guitar
are.
sound.
A Day in the Life.
This is dark.
Fuck me, is this a great tune?
This is dark, eh?
Great.
Oh, that was the first great tune. We made it to number
Oh.
7. I blew it. Sorry, man. Great tune. Great tune. I don't even have any notes written down. I
I
should
don't
have just
either.
wrote down great tune.
Fuck.
I know it's their
explain.
blank, and when I listen to it, it is a fantastic song. I kind of missed it.
I was going to say, then why didn't you have it on your list?
yeah, because there was just too much to listen to.
Yeah,
so
you know what? You can't even.
you missed
can't
one
even-
or two, right?
Yeah. Okay, let's go to number 6. We're going back to the Let It Be album. Get Back, and this is what
Whoa.
this
You better wait for Gord for this one.
is. He going to go Billy Preston on us?
Don't think he likes it.
Really?
I could be wrong.
Well, this was your number 1 song.
Yeah.
More, you had it number 11. Billy Preston's an absolute wizard on this
It's
thing.
rare I hear a song like known for since I was a kid till now that I'm not sick of. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like you just evolve those. You leave songs in the past, but this one I can never get tired of. It's just
So, did you know that? You probably do, but when I was kind of trying to figure out the lyrics and all the stuff. But McCartney wrote the song. It was like a satire parody of the "Get Back." He was mad at about the immigrants, like "Get Back," like "Go home."
Oh yeah.
And so there's recordings.
all right.
of,
It was an anti-racism song.
yeah,
So
they
it's
thought he
being
was racist.
but he was being sarcastic about
But
it.
then,
Right, right.
later on, John Lennon was like, actually, to be honest with you, I think he was right. He wrote it about Yoko, like to get back, like get the fuck out of here.
Really?
And nobody really knows why it was, because McCartney won't say. He's like, oh, it's just a story. But
I heard another story that it was about a dude courting Linda named Joe.
yeah, it could be it.
Oh, that
But
could
that-
be too.
That sounds
Really?
like I don't believe it because when you watch of the documentary, they don't even have the words. worked
I'd
out.
court Linda.
Yeah, she was
me
hot.
too.
What?
She's- Yes.
Really?
Yeah,
Linda was good looking in that doc.
Dude, Harrison's wife. Smoke show.
Well, we weren't talking about her.
Oh,
we were
that's
just
fair.
making a comment on
He was
Linda.
talking about Linda.
Anyway, number 5. Oh man, I love. You want to talk about rock and roll singing, Moral? She came in through the bathroom window is absolutely phenomenal. Vocally,
The first line, the
unbelievable.
way it's delivered, she came in
through the
dude.
bathroom window, and then they get fucking unreal.
Unreal.
What's
Unreal.
that song about?
It was a fan, Diane Ashley, broke into. They used to hang out there all the time, and they found what am I?
No, I like
It's
the
a funny story.
Oh, so they found a ladder in the backyard, and so she climbed in and stole a bunch of clothes and some pictures and
Through
shit
his
like that.
bathroom window.
Through his bathroom window. So they wrote a song about it.
And why wouldn't you?
And how about Ringo on that song?
Good drumming.
He was allowed to play the kick drum. And
They came back.
fuck, man,
They gave him back his pedal.
that song is like way ahead of its time.
I think you're right. It
It is a full force.
There's a lot of '70s songs that came,
Through the
10
bathroom
years
window as
after
well?
that really remind me of that feel.
Again, it's one of those ones where without Polythene Pam before it,
Yeah, it sounds weird.
it sounds a little weird.
They do a lot of those songs that blend into other songs. Like
They did later.
Oh yeah, shuffle no bueno with Beatles. Don't
Yeah.
hit the shuffle button.
But so for Abbey Road, it's interesting because for Abbey Road, they recorded that after Let It Be, and they were because they were trying to do that live performance.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time they got to Abbey Road, they were like, "Fuck it, let's just play it all through," and that's what they did. So with those that second side is a complete what do they call it? Where all the songs are joined together.
Really?
All the songs on the second side of Abbey Road are completely joined together.
I guess that
They
makes sense.
play them
Yeah.
right through.
Yeah.
It's called an amalgamation.
We're gonna have to fact
It's
check
called
that.
the fucking.
We need
what
to
the
fact
hell's
check.
it called?
I don't know.
I can't even see your fucking head. That thing's so big.
I know
Jesus
the
Christ.
fucking
Look at the knob.
fucking pop guard is unbelievable.
It's very distracting.
You should see me trying to read the notes. I can't. I have to hold them way over here because
But Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam,
Oh, Mr. Mustard is awesome.
and she came through the bathroom window. Should all be together.
Yeah.
Mr. Mustard is.
Yeah, it
That's
is
solid.
It was on my list.
I walked into the kitchen last night and Slater's doing this with mustard.
Just
Mr.
eating it
Mustard.
like-
Right, I'm like, like that is horrible.
It's better than ketchup.
He shot it straight. Like,
No
Maybe,
calories.
what the hell?
maybe he thought it was whipped cream.
Who does that?
Well, just your
He didn't
kid.
flinch.
Didn't even flinch.
He's going to be doing.
I
the-
love mustard.
I
He's
went-
going to
I
be
went
doing the
Lady
next
Gaga.
Jackass.
He's gonna be doing that Bud Light pretty quick there, bud.
Yeah, yeah, that shit'll go down nice and smooth.
Won't be lights.
Won't be nothing after the mustard.
It'll be triple X Molson's.
Oh God, high test.
The pornos.
Number 4 is the first and only George Harrison entry. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, we talked about a little bit earlier. Clapton shows up there. This song could have been my number 1.
Yeah.
Clapton's solo in this is insane. And then I actually looked at it. So this solo was ranked 42nd in Guitar World's 2008 list of the 100 greatest rock solos.
And he's not even credited.
And he's not
on
even
the album.
credited on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't have to do that back in the day. Great song.
Yeah.
This I love everything about it. Very different for them too.
Yeah, George was different that way, but
George could have been in Led Zeppelin.
yeah.
He was that kind of guitarist.
Yeah, I could see that.
He could play solos. He played like some dark chords. Like
Maybe he could have brought Stairway into the top 50.
I love the shit.
actually, he probably could have. Him and Freddie Mercury
Yeah.
would have fixed Stairway to Heaven.
You know what? You might not be totally out to lunch there. That you might have some legs on that.
Slowhand didn't play with his pinky either, I just saw. He freaking no pinky finger when he played. He's that good a guitarist. Eric Clapton is Slowhand.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
Oh, like Mike
Maybe-
Ness, who
maybe not that
can't play
interesting.
with his index finger.
is that right? Tony Iommi.
Yeah, that's why he uses.
Tony Iommi has
That's
no
why he
fingers.
uses the capo because he can't bar the chords.
Oh, that just reminds. Anyway, this is the way my mind works. So this reminds me. So one of the issues I had with some of these Beatles songs were, and Helter Skelter is one of those that I had on the list, is songs that I thought I would love, but were ruined by covers, which kind of ties into, if you haven't heard our cover song episode, please listen to that. So some of the, and Cecil, you had, with a little help from my friends, Joe Cocker fucking absolutely destroyed that song for me. I can't even listen to it.
See, I learned to dance to that song, two step. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So So it's good.
I don't mind the Joe Cocker version, but
It's terrible.
Got some.
Come Together was ruined by Aerosmith. Helter Skelter was ruined by
that's
Motley Crue.
I'd throw U2 in there too. Their versions.
Guitar,
Awful.
While My Guitar
U2's is
Gently
terrible,
Weeps was almost ruined by Jeff Healey, but not quite. He almost
Actually,
ruined it,
yeah, I don't mind that version.
but he didn't. So I just wanted to point that out. So that's why this still makes it into the list.
Good stuff.
Number 3, Dear Prudence off of the White Album.
Oh, so good.
You guys, I was out on this one. So why don't you guys try and sell it to me?
it's a great song.
It's a weird story. It's when they went to India. And they're doing their little retreat, the meditation retreat, and Mia Farrow's sister's there, Prudence, and she was having some sort of breakdown. She just sat in a room, and someone had shown John how to finger. What was I going to say? finger pick his guitar. And he was just sitting.
John fingering?
He was just sitting in the garden one day and wrote
John
the song
Finger.
about her. Anyways,
I haven't heard a word you said. I got lost at the fingering clinic.
he wrote it.
She was over meditating.
Yeah, and he wrote it
She
one
wouldn't
morning.
come out of her house.
He just sat on a bench and wrote it one morning on the retreat, just like that, because that's what you can do when you're
Another
John
Ma-
fucking
McCartney.
Lennon.
When you're
masterpiece.
insanely talented.
And I really like the double tracking of the vocals. They don't do a ton of that. It's usually like Paul and John singing.
They do
over
it
each
with
other.
John.
Yeah.
Because John's voice is a little bit tinny.
One other thing bothered me about this song, so I actually had to check it out. I'm like, this doesn't sound like Ringo. Ringo would never fucking do what he's doing on the hi-hat. It
He's
sounds like
smashing
a
the hats.
No, it's Paul.
McCartney?
Paul
Paul,
plays the drums.
and he's playing the hi-hat like
Taking a
he's
hack.
trying to break him.
That's
I'm
when
like, dude, it's
yeah.
a musical instrument.
Fucking
It's not a
Ringo
fucking hammer.
quit.
Quit 5 days.
Yeah,
And then he went to Peter Sellers?
something like that. Yeah,
Peter Sellers' yacht for 5 days and went on a bender.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Peter Sellers used
He
to
went
party.
Dennis Rodman. Just needed a break. Hey,
But, McCartney
Little
almost
trip
single-handedly
to-
ruins
trip to
this.
Vegas.
Like that is some egregious hi-hat work. Fucking figure it out, Paul.
Some egregious hi-hat work.
makes up for it on
Amazing
that
song.
bass.
He quits the band and goes to
Peter.
Peter Sellers' yacht. Imagine what that would be like.
I don't know, but I'll
Peter
tell you
If
what.
I could go back in time, I'd go to Peter Sellers'
Does
yacht.
your dog bite?
Peter probably set him straight after the 50s. Like, what the fuck are you doing here? You're in the Beatles. Like, go do Ringo shit.
Yeah.
Hey, that line from Pink Panther. Does your dog bite?
After
No.
you're done banging this hottie,
I thought
Get
you
on
said
the
your dog
fucking-
did not bite. That is not my dog.
Awesome. See, and Ringo missed out because he didn't play drums on Dear Prudence, and the song ends up number 3 on the Picks and Sticks list.
What if you lost some dough for that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Think you did all right in the end.
Probably.
All right, so now we got the final 2 songs. We've got a tie,
Oh,
What?
a tie for First Brothers.
and we'll do it in order that they're shown here. What's funny about this song? So it's "Don't Let Me Down," which again, it was a B-side to Get Back. "Don't Let Me Down" never appeared officially on an album. It was only on a B-side, and it shows up on the compilations and that. And then it does show up on the Let It Be Naked album, which they sort of re-released when they took out, they reproduced it or whatever. And again, Billy Preston, fuck me.
Crushing it.
yeah, he's the star of the show.
Unreal how good that fits.
I didn't know I even liked keyboard until I heard this song.
Oh,
Fuck, he's just tasteful. Tasteful.
Tasteful.
Just a little
Just-
sprinkle of keyboard. Just a
oh,
sprinkling.
dude, it's a dusting of magic. It's just that's.
I love the song.
The singing.
It went down my list when I realized it was a John Lennon love song to Yoko.
Oh,
Ah,
that's unfortunate.
And that's when I fucking was like, I love it, but I don't love
when
it
he
that
sings
much.
"Love That Lasts Forever."
Yes, when they do that
Oh.
change and Lennon starts getting a little screamy.
The vocal
that's
again.
Good.
He was a grunge singer, man, and that's why when McCartney did that song with Dave Grohl on that soundtrack to that movie that he
Yeah.
did, that doc that he did,
Decent song.
McCartney's vocal on that is 100% rock and roll. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Love McCartney. The other number 1 song, if you will, is
This is
Dig a Pony.
Dude,
Did
did you think when you started this process that this song would be tied for number one.
No chance.
Nope.
I didn't even know what the song
I
was.
thought it'd be Hey Jude.
I don't remember
Yeah.
ever hearing this till I saw the documentary, and then I just fell in love with it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dig a Pony and Don't Let Me Down are the only two songs on this top 10 where all four of us selected it.
The whole top 20, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, it might be. I didn't look at the other 10. You might be right. Where'd my other list go? In any event, Dig a Pony. What's
It's about heroin.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of different stories, but that is one
Yeah,
that
we
is
love
one
heroin.
take. That is one take
The
on it.
guitar playing sounds like Jimi Hendrix, which
It's
It
got
does
a little manic depression in it.
Did you hear this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
the guitar playing in this song is what sold me on it.
Yeah.
It's fucking phenomenal.
It's unreal. Did you hear the story on what the false start was? You know how there's the beginning and there's a false start to it.
Yeah.
So that they started, but Ringo was putting his smoke out. So he had his two drumsticks in one hand, and he
Yeah.
was putting his smoke out. And they started the song, and that's him saying like stop or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then they had to restart it after he put his smoke out.
See, I feel like
That's the
smoking
same
again.
with
Yeah, the fucking smoking.
same with Don't Let Me Down. Paul McCartney starts playing Dig a Pony at the beginning. He's like, whoa, stop, what?
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Good catch.
All kinds of nuggets in here today, boys. What an epi!
Great musical performance on that song, man. All of them.
Yeah.
Like Harrison is in the background and he's just doing some great shit. Like,
Well, we were privy to some things we would never get with other bands.
That's
With
true.
the documentary that
Yeah.
came out, we never would have seen any of this. So the chances of us not even knowing those songs were around, you'd have to kind of find them. Actually,
yeah.
yeah, you're right.
The doc did make me let it be biased, that's for sure.
Dig a pony for me.
see, I'm Rubber Soul. Rubber Soul is to me the best Beatles album.
Well, yeah, let's
Love
talk
it.
favorite
I
albums.
love it.
Let it be.
Sorry, yours was
Rubber Soul.
Rubber
is-
Soul. Yours is Let It Be.
yeah.
What?
I'm Let It Be and Revolver.
I think I really like Revolver.
I'd be Rubber Soul, Revolver.
Yeah, Revolver is
She said. I
is
love
real.
that song.
Oh fuck, Eleanor Rigby. Even like I think that's a fairly popular song, but when you actually sit and listen to that song,
Before or after his fucking bag of weed.
it's fucking witchcraft.
You know,
I don't know what's
tried
going
it,
on.
I tried it both ways, and you're right. It was remarkably improved.
The fucking the string quartet, the cello, or whatever the fuck we were talking about in the car on the way over here.
Little 5-piece string.
Oh,
quartet, or
unbelievable. Anyway,
She said is like psychedelic rock.
4-piece. Yeah. Wow.
I think Stone Temple Pilots modeled their whole fucking thing after she said.
Yeah,
okay.
it could be right.
Interesting.
Well, I have a feeling the deep cuts are going to be deep and plentiful.
Well, so here's the thing. I'm just gonna.
There's
So
gonna be
that's
some deep cuts.
Oh yeah, you should read that.
so that's the top 10. I just wanted to read the others. So 11. So this will all be on the playlist again. You can get our playlist
Yeah.
on YouTube Music, Spotify, and Apple Music. Eleanor Rigby is number 11. Then we go Strawberry Fields Forever, In My Life, Oh Darling, Helter Skelter, Hey Jude, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Tomorrow Never Knows, Old Brown Shoe, I Got a Feeling, and The Word. So those are the top 20. Now normally what our normal format is we go into egregious omissions and points of contention, but we're going to skip that because there's no fucking way. You know what's an egregious omission?
Good
Everything.
call, man.
Everything's an egregious omission. You could argue anything could be on here.
Could I point out something on
100%
the
you
on the
can.
11 to 20 list?
Yes, please do.
6 of those songs
Mhm.
were picked by one guy, so they had them ranked
Yeah.
fairly high enough to get in the top 20.
Right.
And the other 3 of us didn't have them.
That's right. And
Very interesting.
and that goes back to kind of what I said earlier, that it was weird that the variety of selections, which speaks to how much good material this band has.
I never listened to anyone else's songs and thought they were crap. I was like, you know what? It's a good song.
Yeah, it's hard to look, you know,
Even if one guy picks it, I was like, you know what? It's a fucking great song. So
it's a great song. I was concerned when I first started out with the list that I was getting too cute with it.
You can get cute with the Beatles.
You can get real cute with some of the stuff, but I think overall, I mean, I'm really happy with my list. So if we want to talk, deep cuts. Where do we want to?
I was going to say, because I think we're going to have more than a few. Instead of one guy doing all their songs, why don't we just one guy do one and we just kind of rotate? Is that cool? Or
why? What's the benefit to that?
and then
I'll just go because I have him right here.
All right, Mauro, you go.
She said, an LSD inspired psychedelic rock tune on
very-
Revolver.
very LSD inspired.
Yeah,
Kind of the backbone, really.
love it. Really different, really heavy.
Yep.
Till There Was You.
Great song.
That is a cover song. But the nylon guitaring by George and John is absolutely phenomenal.
It's a great pick.
And Wait on Rubber Soul. I really like that song.
That was an interesting pick.
Yeah.
You had Wait and The Word, both from Rubber Soul, pretty high on your list at 5 and 6. And those are songs I had never heard up until we started doing this. And those Rubber Soul, I agree with you. Rubber Soul is a really great album.
Yeah, I would have moved, if I could go back, I would have moved The Word down a bit on my list, but the vocals, I find the vocals on Rubber Soul are like the harmonizing is so prominent.
Yeah.
It's like it's the key to all of it, and the music's sort of just the background. So
Right.
anyway, those three songs are, to me,
Nice.
are my deep cuts.
Gordo, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, buddy.
Okay.
I have 3 as well.
All right, I like it.
A Hard Day's Night. I like how they start up with the note.
The
one.
if you only heard that, is that maybe the easiest song to pick? If you're playing Name That Tune, you say I can name that tune in one.
drums.
Yeah.
I knew you would like that.
If you heard that one note,
Yes,
undeniable.
What is that sound?
Ringo's crushing it.
It's not.
And it was
almost
like
sounds like double bass.
it was meandering around in
I
that
don't
20
take it
spot
back.
for me because it is a great song.
It really is.
I really like this one. It's a good rock and roll number. We talked about it a bit earlier. Across the Universe.
Oh yes.
Just
Yeah,
absolutely
good choice, man.
love this song.
I'm down to 2 picks now.
It is. Oh, sorry, buddy.
That's fine.
It is just
Have
phenomenal.
you seen that movie?
I have not.
You guys have you seen Across the Universe?
No.
No.
Dude. I don't know. Love this movie.
I didn't know there was a
I'll
movie.
Spoil it a bit, but a dude wakes up one morning and somehow realizes that the Beatles' music has vanished. No one on earth has ever heard of the Beatles.
Oh, that's right.
Well, that's
So-
the song. That's called Yesterday or something, isn't it?
Oh, maybe I got the name wrong.
Was that the Bollywood movie?
Yesterday, is that what it's called? Yeah, sorry.
I think it's called Yesterday.
Yeah, the Bollywood movie?
Hey, have you seen
Isn't that what
movie?
they call
Yeah.
it? Bollywood?
Have you
I
seen
don't
that
know what that
movie?
is. That's a great movie.
I heard it's really good.
When you see him,
Typical me get
there's a part on there where he's trying to remember the lyrics to Eleanor Rigby, and you see there's a
Yeah.
Father Mackenzie.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah, like
I love that movie. It was
Oh, I've seen it 100
surprisingly
times.
amazing. Yeah.
I said I had 3, but I do have 3 deep cuts, but I have one song that's in the 11 to 20 that I just wanted to highlight briefly
call it an honorable mention, if you will.
with an honorable mention.
Yeah.
It's the one I picked alone.
Okay.
Tomorrow Never Knows, off Revolver.
Mm-hmm.
The drums never change. It is the most unique Ringo beat. It's really cool. And the way it was recorded is really interesting, too. They had a bunch of... They were basically inventing loops. They were replaying things in different rooms of their building as the song was playing back. It's a total acid song, but it's really cool. I love that one. But my final deep cut is I Am the Walrus.
Cuckoo, Cuckoo.
That is a
Deep song.
That is a
And
good pick.
I really enjoy the story behind it.
That could have been in our top 10,
It
but
could-
nobody really picked it.
Not for me. It's not a song.
I love that. So, and I like the idea behind it. So Lennon was getting so tired of people dissecting his lyrics. Oh, what does he mean by this? Lucy in the sky and all that stuff, right? So he wrote this song with the intention of just throwing people a curveball. Just a bunch of complete nonsense that was going to fuck with people's minds. And I think he did did a great job, and it was probably LSD inspired.
I feel
as
like he's
well.
done that on a few songs because I'll
I
be
think so,
honest,
too.
I read some of the lyrics and I'm like, I don't have a clue what they're
See,
talking
I think Lennon was just confused.
Maybe.
He actually came out and said he was fucking with people on that song. Love it. All right, that's my
rude,
3.
Rude, John.
He was fucking with you anyway.
Oh, he wrecked my mind, man.
Well,
Who's next?
me. Just because it's going in this order.
Do it, bro.
I don't. Where was Clarence? He never showed up in any of the songs.
He's Billy Preston.
Oh, was that Clarence?
Must be.
The fifth. Clarence is a real dude. Man.
Let's get rid of Billy.
Fuck! I was
Steal all his
looking at
good
all the
ideas.
credits for Clarence, and I
Yeah.
couldn't fucking find him.
No, you'll have to ask Eddie Murphy. What do you got, Cease?
Well, like I said, they make me misty, so I'll go off a Hard Day's Night. I'll cry instead. It's got more of the 50s vibe.
Yeah, 50s, man.
It's a good pick, bud.
I don't know. I can't.
Do you want me to read it for you?
Do you want me to sing?
I'll help you out.
You read it.
I'll read it. No,
What's-
I'll read your
what's the-
songs if you're crying.
What's the name of the song?
You read it for me. Just crying.
What was the name of the song?
I'll cry instead off Hard Day's Night.
Oh, okay. I'll have to listen to that.
Post show. Hey, we got 3 now.
Yeah.
We should record the post show. It's going to be unbelievable.
It will be
It's gonna be
unbelievable. We can't
amazing.
release it because it's going to be all copyrighted music. But
That's true.
anyway.
Off the White Album, Cry Baby Cry.
Your theme song.
The fuck is wrong with you?
Okay, listen. Okay, you know what I said? Like, John maybe got shot because he said Beatles were bigger than Jesus. There may go back to that. But I knew Beatles before I knew Jesus. Like, when I, as a kid,
When did you meet Jesus?
I met Jesus later in life.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, when I was on acid. Fuck, you know, like Beatles been around like forever. They're in like every fabric of.
I
Like,
feel like Jesus has been around longer though.
Yeah,
I don't
quite a
think
bit.
so.
Doesn't feel that way. But you
doesn't.
could be right.
Yeah.
Probably right.
Okay.
I'm gonna get shot for this now.
Yeah.
But they're it's just the Beatles have always just been there. And I like the old Beatles, the 50s stuff till a certain point in life. And then they start like in the later half. But I love it all. Like it's almost been like they've just always been there. And I don't never obsessed about them. Never been like pumping their tires like, oh, I love the Beatles. They just always they're just there.
Mhm.
Okay, it's all there's a je ne sais quoi.
Totally agree.
Holy fuck, you're speaking French now.
I love you, Cease. I appreciate you, man.
Why don't I throw one more in there?
Yeah, dude.
So I can stop.
We got to get this up to
I gotta
30.
stop the crying. I just seen a face.
Oh. Yes. You stole one of mine, but that's
Okay,
perfectly
okay.
okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
good.
that pick.
Right on. What album is that off again? That's off Help.
Yep, that's off of Help.
And that's just what do you say? How would you describe that song? Little country pop, Paul McCartney.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and there's a Simon and Garfunkel thing in there a little bit. That la da da da. Like there's a like when I heard that I was like I feel like that's got that la da 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 that Simon and Garfunkel tune.
Ooh,
Anyway,
good call.
I was gonna-
it's got that feel to it.
yeah, and
I don't know which one came first. I didn't
it's
look
Light
it
and
up, but-
Puppy.
I was just going to mention something on what you said, Carlin, is that you're right. The Beatles have always been there. I've never really like stopped and took a good hard look at it. So this podcast has been awesome. Just doing the research on this, just delving into the stuff that I've never heard has been, it's been one of my favorite. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So
So now
that-
what do you got, brother?
That leaves me. So I'm going to give I'll do the honorable mention on one that comes in at number 19, which is Old Brown Shoe. Again,
Nice.
one of those songs that didn't make it on an album. It's only on compilations, and I think it's on whatever that blue one is, 1967 and 1970 or whatever. I think it's on that George Harrison number that I fucking love it, and I think you see it in that doc, right, where they're kind of fucking around with it.
You were pumping tires
I
hard
was.
at Garage Vinyl Night.
And the more I listen to it, the more I love it. But anyway, it's already on the list. I'm going to I got to go to Revolver, and I'm going with For No One. That is just magic. So I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to go with Things We Said Today from A Hard Day's Night.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Nice. It's a curveball. I like it.
Yeah, and I've just seen it. You know what? And this isn't necessarily a deep cut because it's a song that's well known, but I'm having a hard time that it's not going to be on the playlist. So I'm just going to go with Magical Mystery Tour. Because you know what?
The title track.
A magical tour would have been great. A mystery tour would have been really great. Magical... Are you out of your fucking mind? A magical mystery tour?
Unbelievable concept.
Unbelievable. So that rounds it out. I think that's incredible. That's it.
Fuck.
Hey, is that whimsical.
What is
Magical Mystery Tour.
yeah, it was.
Fuck, I was like 5 minutes late.
He's daydreaming. He's staring at the ceiling
I
tile.
was, dude. I was like,
That's unbelievable. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure you tell everyone about Picks and Sticks. If you want to get in touch with us, the email address is picksandstickspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on social media. We're on Instagram, Picks and Sticks Podcast. We're on Twitter, Picks and Sticks 2. Again, we got some great shit coming up. We're getting into the springtime.
We got love is in the air.
Love is in the air. Flowers are blooming. It's going to be great. So, again, thanks for listening. And until next time, see you! Great tune.
Great podcast.